Chapter 6, Shapona, give me 10 bowls of egg fried rice first. The next morning, after a washing up, a veil-wearing Zhou Yanniu and an excited Zhou Zilong left the general's manor. The manor was situated in an urban area. It was noisy the moment they stepped out. Even though it was noisy outside, it was peaceful and quiet inside the general's manor. It's all because of the noise prevention magic formation that was drawn by the architects when the manor was being built. Zhou Yanniu rarely left the manor as she knew how attractive her appearance was to men. There was one time when she did not wear a veil when she went out. That one incident caused a traffic jam in the imperial city, and there were even fighting incidents between playboys. Ever since that incident, Zhou Yanniu rarely left her house. Even if she did, she would wear a veil. As the Zhou siblings left the manor and turned the corner, they entered a busy street. There were hawkers and their stalls on both sides of the streets, and the smell of deep-fried food was drifting in the air. Cultivators like Zhou Zilong and Zhou Yanniu would never eat fried food from stalls like this, as the oil they used were often of poor quality, and thus contained toxins. The main goal of cultivators was to cleanse their bodies and to get rid of the impurities in them. Eating these types of food would only increase the impurities in their bodies. That was why cultivators were fussy about their diets, and were especially concerned with the quality of the food. Strictly speaking, egg fried rice would be considered junk food as well. However, if Zhou Zilong's breakthrough was because of a bowl of egg fried rice, and if it was not a coincidence, then there must be something wrong with the egg fried rice. And it was unlikely to be a coincidence, since Zhou Zilong had been stuck as a second-grade battle master for a long time. To the point where it was impossible to be a coincidence. It was far more probable that the egg fried rice had something to do with his breakthrough. That was what Zhou Yanniu was curious about. Could a bowl of egg fried rice really be that miraculous? Oh my! If that isn't our young master Zhou? Where are you planning to recite poetry today? Just when the Zhou siblings were deep in their thoughts, a jarring voice interrupted them. Zhou Zilong's beautiful face darkened and he turned towards the frivolous man at a distance. It was an ugly-looking man in colorful long robes, carrying a paper fan. That person was the only son of the empire's finance minister, Sun Qixiang. He was infamously known as a playboy within the imperial city. Sun Qixiang, I have no time for you today, get out of my way. Even though Zhou Zilong looked like a sissy, he was quite capable of giving off a powerful aura when angry. However, Sun Qixiang was not afraid of him. He shrugged his shoulders while he impudently stared at the veil-wearing women next to Zhou Zilong. Suddenly, his eyes widened in surprise. Oh my! I can't believe it. It's actually Miss Yanniu. It's a pleasure to meet you. Sun Qixiang had realized the identity of Zhou Yanniu and immediately lost his composure. As a playboy, he would not miss the chance to harass his dream goddess. Get out of the way, Zhou Yanniu said faintly. She did not want to waste any words with him. Sun Qixiang shrugged his shoulders. He wanted to strike up a conversation, but his blood quickly turned cold when he met Zhou Yanniu's eyes. He was quickly reminded of Zhou Yanniu's terrifying strength. After tens of thousands of years of development, the cultivation system on Qianlong continent had a strict grading system. On Qianlong continent, every person was a cultivator. From an elderly person to a 5-year-old child, cultivation was present in every household. However, with the differences in talents, the level of results were different as well. There were 9 different grades: 1st grade warrior, 2nd grade battle master, 3rd grade battle maniac, 4th grade battle spirit, 5th grade battle king, 6th grade battle emperor, 7th grade battle saint, 8th grade war god, 9th grade supreme being. There was also a 10th grade as well, but that was not something an ordinary person would know. Known as a female prodigy in the imperial city, Zhou Yanniu was a cultivation genius. Even though she was not even 18 years old, she was already a 4th grade battle spirit. Compared to her younger brother, Zhou Zilong, she was far more powerful. Even the great General Zhou Meng had often exclaimed that it would have been great if Zhou Yanyu were a male. Sun Xixian was only a playboy. Even though he was in his 20s, he was only a third-grade battle maniac. But since he was a third-grade battle maniac after all, he was not afraid of Zhou Ziyalong. However, when faced with the fourth-grade battle spirit Zhou Yanyu, it was a whole different matter. Zhou Ziyalong coldly snorted and followed after Zhou Yanyu, who had already left. The two of them quickly disappeared within the crowd. Sun Xixian scratched his cheeks and his eyes narrowed. He turned to one of his underling and whispered something to him. The underling quickly ran off while Sun Xixian followed after the Zhou siblings with a sinister smile. After sleeping until he woke up naturally, the depressed Bu Fang took his time with opening up the restaurant. The big black dog was still lying at the entrance. It glanced up at Bu Fang when he opened up the entrance, then it went back to sleep. Within the next 7 days, I need to sell 100 portions of egg-fried rice and 10 portions of stir-fried vegetables or dry mixed noodles. System: do you really think that it's possible for a small restaurant in such a deserted place to achieve such miraculous results? Bu Fang placed a chair by the entrance and curled himself up on it. In his mind, he was arguing with the system. Young man, you are someone aiming to become the god of cooking. You must have faith in your cooking. You must believe you can conquer the world. The system solemnly encouraged Bu Fang once more. Bu Fang rolled his eyes. He thought, I'd rather comfortably get a sun bath than conquer the world. Bu Fang was feeling sleepy again as he lay in the sun, even though he had just woken up. Shop owner. I am here again. I am already in love with your egg-fried rice. Bu Fang's eyes were only closed for a moment when a shout woke him up. He expressionlessly looked up and saw the sissy who ate egg-fried rice the day before. Huh? There was someone next to him, even though she was wearing a veil. Bu Fang immediately knew she was a woman. What a nice chest and ass. She has a great figure. Zhou Yanyu knitted her eyebrows as she appraised the little restaurant that Zhou Ziyalong brought her to. She thought, can such a remote restaurant really make that miraculous egg-fried rice? Are you the owner of this restaurant? Zhou Yanyu asked. Her voice was beautiful, it was pleasing to the ear. That's right. Bu Fang calmly nodded. Zhou Yanyu entered the store without saying anything further. The interior was very clean. When she ran her finger over a table, there was not even a speck of dust. She was also quite pleased with the store's ambience. Even though the store was small and in a remote location, the decorations were well done, the ambience was good and the place was clean. After Zhou Yanyu finished her appraisal of her surroundings, her eyes landed on the menu in the middle of the store. Immediately, she raised her eyebrows and her eyes flashed with incredulity. So what Ziyalong said was true about a bowl of egg-fried rice. Costing a crystal, eh? The improved version of egg-fried rice actually costs 10 crystals? Is this guy an idiot? Shop owner, I don't think I saw this improved egg-fried rice yesterday. Why is it suddenly here today? Zhou Ziyalong was also surprised with the appearance of the new egg-fried rice that was being sold for 10 crystals. Oh, I forgot to write it yesterday. However, keep in mind that you need to be a third-grade battle maniac to order this dish. Otherwise, you are not qualified, Bu Fang yawned and expressionlessly replied. There's even a requirement in order to eat it? Zhou Yanyu immediately became interested. She was suddenly very curious about this improved egg-fried rice. Ziyalong, how many crystals did you bring? Zhou Yanyu turned towards Zhou Ziyalong and asked. Zhou Ziyalong dazedly replied, 10 crystals. Very good. Zhou Yanyu nodded contentedly. She waved her hand and a sachet with a peony sewn on it appeared in her hand. Shop owner, give me a bowl of improved egg-fried rice, Zhou Yanyu calmly said. Alright, please wait. When Zhou Yanyu actually ordered the improved egg-fried rice, Bu Fang was delighted but did not let it show on his face. He wanted to maintain a cool attitude of a chef in front of a beautiful woman. Zhou Ziyalong's face had already turned pale from anguish and was grudgingly looking at Zhou Yanyu. Bu Feng turned around and was about to enter the kitchen when suddenly, a tsk sound coming from the entrance made him stop. Tsk, tsk, tsk. For the #1 female prodigy in the Light Wind Empire to actually come to such a pathetic little restaurant to eat a bowl of egg fried rice. Oh my, how funny is that? Sun Kixian shrugged his shoulders and shook his head as he entered the little store. Miss Yanyu, do you like eating egg fried rice? Okay. I will treat you. Shop owner, give me 10 bowls of egg fried rice first. I will order more if that's not enough. Chapter 7, The Rules of the Small Restaurant. Shop owner, give me 10 bowls of egg fried rice first. If these words were spoken in an ordinary little restaurant, the shop owner would probably be really happy. However, in Bu Feng's store, Bu Feng was not happy about it. Bu Feng was going to enter the kitchen but he stopped. He turned around, looked towards Sun Kixian who was in a colorful robes and solemnly said, Sir, our store only sells a portion of egg fried rice to each customer per day. You can order stir-fried vegetables or dry mixed noodles. Oh, you can order the improved version of egg fried rice as well. Sun Kixian was surprised. He did not think that he would be rejected. He looked towards Bu Feng as if he was staring at an idiot, and while pointing his paper fan towards him he said with a grin, Do you not know who I am? He was one of the 3 famous playboys in the Imperial City, Sun Kixian. There was not anyone who did not know him. For an owner of a little restaurant to reject him, he was seeking death. Bu Feng knitted his eyebrows and carefully looked at Sun Kixian. He had slender eyes, pouty lips and monkey-like cheeks. Even though he was ugly to the point where he could be mistaken for someone from a different species, Bu Feng truly did not recognize him. I don't recognize you. However, these are the rules of our store, you can leave if you're not eating, Bu Feng simply said. Oh my! How interesting, I enjoy breaking the rules the most. If you don't give me 10 bowls of egg fried rice, I will smash your store up. How dare a tiny little store like this talk about rules with me? Sun Kixian laughed. He thought it was interesting that someone in the Imperial City actually did not know him. Zhou Yanyu could no longer stand by and do nothing. She did not think that Sun Kixian would actually follow them to this store. If the store was destroyed, the blame would be on her. Sun Kixian, you'd better watch it. If you're here to eat, then eat properly. Do you really want me to throw you out? There was a slight coldness in Zhou Yanyu's voice. Zhou Zilong was already staring coldly at Sun Kixian. Bu Feng remained expressionless after hearing Sun Kixian's threat. He rubbed his palms together and faintly glanced at Sun Kixian. He said, Smash my store up? I don't think you're capable of that. If you're ordering something, then hurry up. The menu is on the wall. If you continue to waste my time, I am permanently blacklisting you. Zhou Yanyu went into a daze. Even Zhou Zilong was stunned. They could not understand the reason why Bu Feng was not afraid of Sun Kixian. Sun Kixian had a lot of power within the Imperial City. Even the #1 restaurant, Immortal Phoenix Restaurant, would not dare to offend him. What emboldened Bu Feng to go against him? Sun Kixian angrily smiled. For a tiny little restaurant owner like that to be so arrogant in front of him, he learned something new that day. Brat, you have guts. The last person who spoke to me this way became fish food. Sun Kixian coldly smiled and looked towards the menu. On the menu, there were 4 dishes. He could have immediately ordered his men to smash the store up, but not with Zhou Yanyu around. Since that was the case, he wanted to see what this little store was capable of. Haha, this truly is a small restaurant. With only 4 dishes, one of them is repeated as well. Are you telling me you can cook up a feast with egg fried rice? Sun Kixian only looked at the name of the dishes and completely ignored the prices. Price? Sun Kixian had more than enough money. What are you ordering? Bu Feng expressionlessly asked. Give me every single dish on the menu. Sun Kixian sat down at a table. He wanted to know what exactly the little restaurant had that could attract the #1 beauty in the Imperial City. Sun Kixian appraised the little restaurant. He had to admit that the decoration was quite unique, it felt cozy. Every single dish? Alright, that's 11 crystals and 200 gold coins in total. Bu Feng smirked and indifferently reported the price. Sun Qixian was sitting on a chair with his leg crossed over his knee. When he heard the price that Bu Feng reported, his expression froze and he looked at Bu Feng as if he was an idiot. Do you think I am stupid? It's just 2 bowls of egg fried rice, a plate of stir-fried vegetables and a plate of dry mixed noodles, and you're telling me that it's 11 crystals and 200 gold coins? If you're looking to rip someone off, at least choose your victims well. How dare you try to scam me? Sun Qixian practically shouted those words out. Even though he was well-to-do, he was not a brainless idiot. Are you blind? The price is written on the menu, get lost if you are not ordering. Bu Feng's patience had already completely disappeared, he did not have much leniency towards customers. As someone who aimed to become the god of cooking, he had his own pride. Don't pretend to be rich if you have no money. When Zhou Xiaolong saw Sun Qixian's reaction, he almost laughed out loud. He had the same expression as Sun Qixian when he first saw the prices of the dishes. Now that he saw the same expression on other people, he felt an inexplicable kind of pleasure. No money? What a joke. I can smash you to death just by using money. Cut the crap. Serve the dishes first. I will definitely pay. Sun Qixian glanced at Zhou Xiaolong disdainfully, opened his paper fan and waved it while he said. His eyes were rotating as if something was on his mind. Bu Feng did not mind. Since Sun Qixian had already ordered, he would just go ahead and cook the dish. Anyone who entered the store was a customer, he was not afraid that they would create trouble. That was because the store was modified by the system, any attempts to create trouble would only end badly. Please wait a moment. Without saying anything further, Bu Feng entered the kitchen. Yan Yu, why would a beautiful woman like you come to such a place to eat some stupid egg fried rice? While they waited for their dishes to arrive, Sun Qixian was bored. He turned towards the dignified Zhou Yanyu who was sitting nearby and tried to strike up a conversation. However, Zhou Yanyu sat there like a statue and simply ignored him. Sun Qixian was given the cold shoulder by Zhou Yanyu, but he didn't think much of it. He was used to it when harassing beautiful women. And so, he continued to appraise the store with eyes filled with aversion. When Sun Qixian saw the prices on the menu once more, his eyes flashed with ridicule. Zhou Xiaolong sat on one side in low spirits while he grudgingly looked at Zhou Yanyu. All of his crystals were taken away by his bully of a sister and he only had gold coins on him, so he could only order a portion of dry mixed noodles. It may not be egg fried rice, but since it was from the same store, it should be extraordinary as well. After all, it was being sold for 100 gold coins. Everyone within the small store held their own thoughts. Suddenly, a burst of fragrance drifted out from the kitchen. It was like a floating piece of silk as it caressed their faces. Zhou Xiaolong was engrossed in the smell. Oh! It's this smell, this intoxicating and nostalgic smell. Zhou Yanyu's bright eyes were filled with surprise as well. It's truly fragrant. Sun Qixian sniffed and his eyes suddenly lit up. It looks like this little store has some capabilities after all. This fragrance is wonderful. With 3 pairs of eyes staring at him, Bu Feng leisurely walked out of the kitchen. Here's your improved egg fried rice, enjoy your meal. Bu Feng was holding a blue and water porcelain bowl in his hand. Rich fragrance was drifting up from the bowl while forming a mist above it, that obscured the view of the dish. When the blue and white porcelain bowl was placed in front of Zhou Yanyu, the rich fragrance immediately rushed towards her, like an aromatic bomb had exploded. The smell immediately flowed into Zhou Yanyu's nostrils like a river meeting the sea. The light breeze lifted up her pink veil and exposed her beautiful face. Guru! Zhou Yanyu gulped and a small rumble came from her stomach. Her beautiful face flushed red in embarrassment. For a bowl of egg fried rice to cause a 4th grade battle spirit to feel hunger. It was a miracle. When the mist obscuring the dish finally dissipated, a burst of golden rays suddenly emerged from the bowl. Sun Kixing and Zhou Zialong were shocked. Even Zhou Yanyu covered her mouth and gasped in surprise. Chapter 8, Do Not Offend the Future God of Cooking. Egg fried rice that glowed. Zhou Yanyu's pupils slowly widened and they were filled with incredulity. When Zhou Zialong told her about it, she did not believe him. Now that she had seen it, it still felt unreal. Rich fragrance continuously rushed into Zhou Yanyu's nasal cavity. That smell was like a lover's caress, causing her entire body to relax. Her mind was completely empty of distractions. There was only one thing in her mind: eat it. Zhou Yanyu was still a goddess of Light Wind Empire after all. She needed to maintain her image even if she was in front of gourmet food. She gently lifted up her veil and exposed her rosy and ample lips. Using the blue and white porcelain spoon to scoop up a spoonful of egg fried rice, the egg fluid, which was not fully cooked, stretched as the spoon was lifted up. It was like a shining golden thread. Warm air rose from the blue and white porcelain spoon and a rich fragrance accompanied it. Zhou Yanyu's skin, that was as fair as bean curd, turned red from the warm air. "Elder sister, how is the taste of this improved egg fried rice?" As Zhou Zialong breathed in the smell of the egg fried rice, he could not help but ask as he watched the spoon enter his sister's mouth. The blue and white porcelain spoon lightly brushed against Zhou Yanyu's teeth and every single rice grain fell into her mouth. Zhou Yanyu narrowed her eyes as a burst of flavor rushed straight into her brain, as if a flavor bomb had exploded in her mouth. Her taste buds were completely enveloped and conquered by the egg fried rice. "Oh! It's delicious!" Zhou Yanyu gave an euphoric expression and she moaned. After that, she completely ignored the others and started to stuff spoon after spoon of egg fried rice into her mouth. Her image was completely destroyed within seconds. She had never eaten an egg fried rice that tasted so good. As a fourth-grade battle spirit, she almost did not need to consume food. For someone like her to have their appetite stimulated by a bowl of egg fried rice, it was almost unbelievable. As Zhou Zialong had said, it was a miraculous bowl of egg fried rice. Guru. When Zhou Zialong saw Zhou Yanyu devouring her food without caring about her image, he did not laugh at her. He was looking at her enviously instead. There was even a rumbling sound coming from his stomach. Sun Kixing was speechless as he watched his dream goddess devouring her food. He could not understand her actions at all. It's just a bowl of egg fried rice. Is there a need to be so desperate? Even though this bowl of egg fried rice smells really good, you're still a goddess. There's no need for you to throw away your image for a bowl of egg fried rice. Shopona. Where is my egg fried rice? Hurry up and serve it. Hurry. Even though Sun Kixing was thinking that, he was even more curious about the egg fried rice. He closed the paper fan in his hand and glanced sideways. He shouted at Bu Feng, who seemed to be smiling while watching Zhou Yanyu eat. Bu Feng raised his eyebrows and indifferently glanced at Sun Kixing. He did not say anything, but instead turned around and entered the kitchen. Hurry up. If I am not eating your egg fried rice by the time 3 minutes have passed, I will smash up this tiny little store, Sun Kixing arrogantly said. Bu Feng expressionlessly entered the kitchen and took out a bag of flour from the refrigerator. Was he going to cook egg fried rice? Wrong. Sun Kixing actually dared to threaten him, a chef. Since that was the case, then he would have to go on an empty stomach for a while. He would understand soon enough the fate of someone who offends a chef, especially a petty-minded one. Dry mixed noodles was actually a simple dish. It was just pulled noodles mixed with seasoning. However, the dry mixed noodles that Bu Feng used was handmade. With a special kneading technique used to create the noodles, the taste was definitely extraordinary. As Bu Feng had already practiced this countless times, making a bowl of dry mixed noodles from dough would only need around 10 minutes. His kneading skills were pleasing to the eyes. It was like his hands had disappeared and after images were kneading the dough. After the kneading was done, he had to pull the noodles apart using moderate strength. Then he sprinkled some flour on the thin noodles and soaked them in hot water once. The water used to cook the noodles was not ordinary either. It was clear and translucent and did not contain any impurities. The steam coming from it even had a little sweet smell in it. While the noodles were being soaked, Bufang was preparing the seasoning. He placed a strict proportion of salt, soy sauce and monosodium glutamate into a blue and white porcelain bowl and poured a little hot water in it. Then he removed the noodles from the hot water and poured them into the bowl. Using bamboo chopsticks, he stirred the bowl, which caused the color of the soy sauce to completely seep into the crystal clear noodles. A bowl of steaming dry mixed noodles was complete. There was no soup, egg or vegetables. It was purely a bowl of dry mixed noodles. Bufang carried the bowl of dry mixed noodles out of the kitchen. The fragrance was not as strong as when he carried out the egg fried rice, but the color of the dry mixed noodles was appealing. When Sun Kixiang saw Bufang walking out of the kitchen with a blue and white porcelain bowl, he thought his egg fried rice was here and excitedly went up to receive it. "This is the sissy's dry mixed noodles," Bufang expressionlessly moved aside and simply said. Sun Kixiang's expression froze and he angrily stared at Bufang with narrowed eyes. "Didn't I tell you to cook egg fried rice? Who told you to cook dry mixed noodles? Do you want me to close down this business?" Bufang completely ignored Sun Kixiang. He set down the dry mixed noodles in front of Zhou Zialong and calmly said, "Here's your dry mixed noodles, enjoy your meal." Zhou Zialong's eyes lit up. He was ravenous after being enticed by the egg fried rice. The smell was simply too tantalizing. He even overlooked the fact that Bufang called him a sissy. Even though the dry mixed noodles was not the egg fried rice, it was better than having nothing to eat. Although the smell was not as rich as the other dish, there was still a burst of fragrance circulating within the nasal cavities if you breathed in deeply. How could a bowl of dry mixed noodles being sold for 100 gold coins be ordinary? Zhou Zialong picked up a strand of noodle with his chopsticks and impatiently sucked it into his mouth. Slurp. Zhou Zialong's eyes widened in surprise. The noodle immediately slid into his mouth as if it had come alive. As the springiness was ample, it even bounced around his mouth after he bit it off. The feeling as it bounced around gave him an unusual enjoyment. It felt as if multiple tiny hands were lightly scratching his mouth. "Oh!" With his mouth stuffed with noodles, Zhou Zialong's eyes narrowed into a slit. He shook his head with a face full of enjoyment. Zhou Zialong's expression was reflected in Sun Kixiang's eyes. He could no longer suppress his curiosity. He could not wait any further. "Hurry up and get back into the kitchen. I want to immediately taste the egg fried rice and dry mixed noodles." Sun Kixiang coldly stared at Bufang. "You seemed to have forgotten who you're speaking to? Also, stop rushing me. If I hear another word, I am blacklisting you." Bufang's eyebrows knitted together. He was getting more dissatisfied. He thought, "This guy is looking for trouble. You're very cocky. I may just tear down your store," Sun Kixiang said threateningly, while poking Bufang's chest with his paper fan. Bufang responded with a smile. Since he seldom smiled, his smile looked stiff. He did not say anything further and returned to the kitchen. After approximately 30 minutes, Bufang leisurely came back. Zhou Zialong and Zhou Yanniu had already finished their meals, but they did not leave. They still had to pay their bills, and more importantly, to take a look at the stir-fried vegetables. They had already witnessed egg fried rice and dry mixed noodles. There was only stir-fried vegetables to go. Based on the standards of the other dishes, stir-fried vegetables would surely be out of the ordinary as well. When the famished Sun Kixiang finally saw his food being carried out of the kitchen, he was so excited that he quickly came forward and snatched the tray away from Bufang. There were 4 dishes on the tray. There were 2 bowls of egg fried rice that were so fragrant that the smell enveloped the entire restaurant. There was also another bowl of dry mixed noodles with an enticing color, and also a fresh piece of leaf. Since Sun Kixiang ordered all of the dishes, Bufang cooked all of them at once. It seemed that the piece of leaf might be the legendary Stir-fried vegetables. Are you an idiot? Why didn't you serve me dish by dish? Are you deliberately trying to starve me? Sun Kixian transfixedly breathed in the smell of the egg-fried rice, then turned towards Bu Feng and scolded him. Bu Feng could not be bothered to answer him. What was Sun Kixian expecting after offending a chef? He should be thankful that he did not have to wait an additional hour or two. So, why would Bu Feng serve the dishes on time? It was not because he was afraid of Sun Kixian. There was a reason for it. System, are you sure that thing you gave me will work? Abyssal chili sauce. The chili used is selectively chosen from the extremely spicy facing heaven pepper that grows in the abyss. It is extremely intense after experiencing the daily essence energy respiration of the abyssal devils. A single drop will cause a person to feel as if their entire body is on fire. A spoonful will cause a person to experience hallucinations. A jar is deadly. The system solemnly explained the chili sauce that Bu Feng added into the egg-fried rice. Chapter 9, The Robotic Assistant of Fang Fang's Little Store. That was right. Bu Feng was a petty-minded person. He was not a gentleman in the first place. Even though his ambition was to become the god of cooking, it did not change the fact that he was just an ordinary person from Earth. Please enjoy your meal, Bu Feng expressionlessly said to Sun Kixian, who was eagerly staring at the egg-fried rice. Get lost. Don't bother me while I am eating. Sun Kixian impatiently waved Bu Feng away. Bu Feng pursed his lips and thought, let's see if you're still cocky after you have the first bite. Sun Kixian was no longer paying any attention to Bu Feng and was about to begin his meal. Suddenly, he thought of something and turned towards Zhou Yanniu. By then, she had already put on her veil and was once again dignified and graceful. He said to her, I ordered a lot of dishes, do you want to eat with me? Zhou Yanniu knitted her eyebrows and unexpectedly hesitated as she recalled the delicious taste of the egg-fried rice. She wanted to order another serving but she did not have enough money on her and the rules of the store only allowed a serving per customer. It seemed like a pretty good choice if someone were to treat her to a meal. However, before Zhou Yanniu could reply, Bu Feng who was sitting nearby opened his mouth and said, only the customer that ordered the egg-fried rice can eat it. If someone else eats it, then it will be viewed as a violation of our rules and the customer will be blacklisted. What? Do you think I would be scared? If I want to eat, who cares about your rules? I will get someone to beat you up until you're half dead, then make you cook. What do you think a tiny little store like this can do to me? Sun Kixian angrily stared at Bu Feng. He was about to share a meal with the beautiful Zhou Yanniu if it was not for his interruption. Oh, there's one more thing that I forgot to add. Not only will you be blacklisted, if she really eats it, she will be blacklisted as well. You may not understand the seriousness of the blacklist, but you're welcome to try, Bu Feng unhurriedly said. After Bu Feng finished speaking, Zhou Yanniu immediately dismissed any thoughts of wanting to eat Sun Kixian's egg-fried rice. Sun Kixian coldly snorted. He was not even bothered in the slightest by Bu Feng's threat. Why would a playboy like him be afraid of the chef of a little store? So what if he was blacklisted? It was just a joke to him. Sun Kixian did not say anything else. When he looked towards the savory dishes in front of him, his appetite suddenly surged. The egg-fried rice that was radiating golden light was blinding to his eyes. As he scooped up the egg-fried rice with the blue and white porcelain spoon, the rich fragrance coming from it, as if an aromatic bomb had exploded and rushed into his nasal cavities. He was captivated by it. He unhesitantly shoved the spoon into his mouth. The pearl-like rice rolled between his teeth and his tongue. It was like a massage treatment taking place in his mouth. Delicious. Sun Kixian's eyes lit up as he shoved spoon after spoon of egg-fried rice into his mouth. Bu Feng's expressionless face finally broke into a smile as he watched Sun Kixian gobble down the food. Zhou Yanniu was staring at Sun Kixian's egg-fried rice when she detected a slight chill coming from Bu Feng's body. When she looked towards him in curiosity, she witnessed the stiff smile on his face. Eh? He's actually smiling? Zhou Yanyu was slightly surprised. Ever since she entered the store, the impression that Bu Feng gave her was that of a cold and haughty chef. It was hard to imagine him smiling. Ah! Just when Zhou Yanyu was focusing her attention on Bu Feng, Sun Qixian, who was enjoying his meal, suddenly stopped eating and his eyes widened. Within seconds, his face turned from white to red, then red to purple. With a scream, Sun Qixian opened his mouth and vomited out rice grains. He was hopping on the spot with his hands around his neck and his tongue hanging out of his mouth. Hot. Hot. It's too hot. Tears rolled down Sun Qixian's face. He felt as if his entire body was warping and the world was not real. How could such a terrifying level of spiciness exist in this world? Water. I need to find water. Sun Qixian ran around the little store to find water. The burning sensation in his mouth made him feel as if his entire mouth was starting to go numb and filled his face with tears. Bu Feng was sitting on a chair while he disinterestedly watched Sun Qixian run around. Suddenly, Sun Qixian charged towards the kitchen. Since he could not find any water in the area, he wanted to enter the kitchen to find water. Just when Sun Qixian was about to enter the kitchen, a mechanical alarm appeared out of nowhere and threw him out. The kitchen is a restricted area, no entry to unauthorized personnel. Bu Feng's robotic assistant was standing at the kitchen entrance and spoke in a mechanical voice. Zhou Yanyu and Zhou Zilong were speechless as they watched the scene unfold. Zhou Yanyu suddenly turned to look at Bu Feng. She thought, did he do this? Is this his way of taking revenge? That's scary. How could he add such a terrifying chili into gourmet food? That's totally inhumane. Young master. Here's water. Sun Qixian's underling was very perceptive. When he saw Sun Qixian jumping for water, he already ran out to find water and brought a water bag back. Gulp gulp. Sun Qixian finished the entire water bag in one go before the spicy feeling in his mouth was gone. It was fortunate for him that he did not eat that much, otherwise it would have lasted much longer. You're seeking death. How dare you tamper with my food? Sun Qixian furiously threw the empty water bag on the floor. Bu Feng expressionlessly sat on the chair and pointed at the dish. If you don't finish the food, that will be considered food wastage and you'll be blacklisted. Blacklist? Don't talk to me about your stupid blacklist. I am shutting down your store today. Sun Qixian furiously gritted his teeth and pointed at Bu Feng with his paper fan. I want you to smash this store up. Sun Qixian said to his underling behind him. The underling immediately perked up. Smashing stores was his favorite thing to do. He picked up a chair in an experienced manner and was about to swing it towards the table. However, before he could bring the chair down, he felt his arm being crushed. The underling screamed out in pain. A robot had appeared behind the underling. It reached out and easily crushed the underling's arm. Troublemaker. You've been blacklisted and hereby prohibited from stepping into Fang Fang's little store. A mechanical voice solemnly declared. That underling was lifted up by the robot and gently thrown out of the store. He landed face first into the mud, wailing in pain. How dare you retaliate? I can easily summon 100 men within minutes to tear down this store. Sun Qixian trembled in anger. He could not believe that a commoner would dare to go against him within the imperial city. Whitey, strip him and throw him outside. He should be punished for wasting food. Bu Feng stood up, yawned and simply said to the robot, Whitey. Then, he muttered to himself, the opening hours is almost over, it's time to close up for the day. How dare you ignore me? I am a third-grade battle maniac, killing you is no different from crushing an ant. Sun Qixian angrily roared. His colorful robes started to flutter and glowing lights floated around his body. Bang! The robot, Whitey, slapped Sun Qixian on the head, knocking him down on the floor and stunning him. The true energy that he gathered within his body immediately dissipated. After that, the sound of cloth being torn resounded around the little store. Damn it! Are you seriously striping me? Do you know who I am? I am. Bang! Whitey's eyes flashed and it slapped Sun Kixian on the head once more, sending him into a daze. Sun Kixian was stripped naked except for his underwear, and everything valuable on him was taken away. He was gently thrown out in a beautiful arc and landed at the entrance of the store. Sun Kixian was in a daze while he sat there shivering from the cold wind. Then he suddenly heard footsteps and a pair of golden wire-scaled shoes appeared in the corner of his eyes. Joe Rouge looked at the almost naked Sun Kixian, who was only wearing a loincloth, and made a tsk sound. How did the great Sun Kixian end up in such an embarrassing state just by eating a meal? Chapter 10, The Principle That Cannot Be Swayed by Money. Joe Rouge was a good-looking young man with long black hair fixed in place with a green hairpin. He wore a white robe, a pair of wire-scaled shoes and a belt inlaid with jade. He looked noble and graceful. Joe Rouge. Sun Kixian miserably stood up with his hands covering his private parts and sullenly looked at the handsome man in front of him. I didn't know that young Master Sun had such hobbies. Today has been an eye-opener for me. Joe Rouge chuckled as his eyes ran over Sun Kixian's body and said with a weird expression on his face. Sun Kixian's face turned bright red. He looked towards his underling who was behind Joe Rouge, the one he sent to look for Joe Rouge. After tearing off the clothing on his underling and putting it on, Sun Kixian's complexion slightly improved. He did not pay any attention to Joe Rouge but turned towards the store and furiously shouted, "If I don't smash up your store by tomorrow, my surname isn't Sun. I'll be back." After Sun Kixian finished shouting, he glanced towards Joe Rouge and said, "Young Master Joe, your dream goddess is inside the little restaurant right now. Here's a friendly reminder, there's something strange with this restaurant. The beautiful Zhou Yanyu seems to be under someone's spell." Without even looking at Joe Rouge's reaction, Sun Kixian bitterly swaggered away. Under someone's spell? The corner of Joe Rouge's mouth slightly curled up and a meaningful smile appeared on his handsome face. He looked towards the simple and small restaurant in the alleyway. For a little restaurant set up in such a remote place to have customers, especially ones with high status like the children of the great General Zhou Meng, Joe Rouge would not believe that there was nothing strange going on. The wary Joe Rouge started to walk towards the restaurant. He wanted to see what kind of a magical place it was. However, before he reached the entrance, he saw the Zhou siblings walking out with strange expressions on their faces. Zhou Yanyu was agitated at the moment. It was not because Bu Feng threw Sun Kixian out of the store, but because of the egg fried rice. After she ate the improved egg fried rice, she found that the true energy in her body was being stimulated and the amount had increased by a lot. Even though it had not reached the point where she would advance, the level of increase was still considerable. She was amazed that a bowl of improved egg fried rice could actually increase a person's cultivation level, and its effect was equivalent to that of 4th grade elixirs. There was also the fact that compared to elixirs, the taste of the egg fried rice was simply incredible. It was also no wonder that a person would need to be at least a 3rd grade battle maniac before they could eat the improved egg fried rice. The increase in true energy was more than the total true energy a 2nd grade battle master had. If a 2nd grade battle master were to eat it, not only would they not be able to advance, their bodies would explode from the sudden increase in true energy. "Yanyu, what's wrong?" When Zhou Rouge saw Zhou Yanyu, a glimmer of gentleness appeared in his eyes. He took a step forward and softly asked. Zhou Yanyu was overjoyed with the increase in her cultivation level and completely ignored Zhou Rouge, while Zhou Xiaolong warily stared at Zhou Rouge. He could not understand the reason for Zhou Rouge to appear at that place. Then he thought of something. Could it be that it was that brat Sun Kixian who informed him? As the Zhou siblings walked away without paying any attention to Zhou Rouge, he got even more curious. He thought, for Yanyu to have that kind of expression, what exactly happened here? "Thank you, please come again." After sending off the bewildered Zhou siblings, Bu Feng yawned and started to closing up for the day. The robot, Whitey, returned to the kitchen to continue its watch. Bu Feng picked up the last piece of door board. Before he could close up the entrance, a handsome young man appeared in front of him. "Shop owner, don't be so quick to close up. I would like to try out your dishes." The handsome Joe Rouge elegantly stood at the entrance with a smile on his face while he looked at Bufang. A wind blew past and caused his robes to flutter. Bufang expressionlessly looked at Joe Rouge, while the latter looked at him with a smile. "Oh, it's time for the store to close up, please come back tomorrow." Bufang simply said and continued to close up. The expression on Joe Rouge's face froze. Did the shop owner just refuse a customer? How does a little store like this even dare to refuse a customer? Opening hours are determined by humans. They can be changed. I am willing to pay more. Joe Rouge thought for a while and spoke up once more. "No way," Bufang expressionlessly replied. Joe Rouge knitted his eyebrows and said, "How about 2 times the original price?" Bufang thought for a while but still refused. "No way." Joe Rouge was completely stunned. He could not believe that a little store like this would refuse a customer. However, he was not about to give up. "I will pay 3 times the original price." "No way." "How about 4 times the original price?" "No. No way." 5 times. Joe Rouge endured the impulse to kick Bufang's expressionless face and coldly said, "5 times?" Bufang was bleeding in his heart. If it was 5 times the original price, a bowl of improved egg fried rice would be 50 crystals and a bowl of normal egg fried rice would be 5 crystals. He felt as if countless amounts of money were floating in front of his eyes. As someone aiming to become the god of cooking, you must have your own set of rules. You must maintain your principles and not be swayed by money. Do not bend over backwards for money. Just when Bufang was struggling internally and was about to agree with Joe Rouge's offer, the system's timely intervention woke Bufang up. Joe Rouge was extremely pleased. From the hesitation on Bufang's face, Joe Rouge knew that Bufang was about to agree. He thought, "How dare the owner of a little restaurant talk about principles with me? There's no principle that doesn't break under a pile of money. If it doesn't work, then I will offer 2 big piles." Bufang took in a deep breath. The expression on his face became even gloomier and uglier. He glanced at the triumphant-looking Joe Rouge, then bang! With a loud bang, the doorboard tightly sealed up the entrance, startling Joe Rouge. "What happened? Shop owner, are you going to let me in? Are you still open for business? What happened to his concession? What happened to his compromise? Why did he suddenly change his mind?" Even with Joe Rouge's self-control, he was still furious. Even the #1 restaurant, the Immortal Phoenix restaurant, did not have as many rules as this little store. He could not believe that a little restaurant in such a remote location would talk about principles with him. "The opening hours is finished for today. If you want to eat, come back tomorrow." The voice of Bufang came from behind the tightly closed entrance, followed by a yawn. Then, there was only silence. After that, no matter how many times Joe Rouge knocked, there was no response. The big black dog lazily lying in front of the entrance glanced at Joe Rouge, then continued with its sleep. The only thing that the dog did other than eating was sleeping. It was a dog living the life of a pig. Joe Rouge finally realized that he was rejected. He could not believe that a little restaurant in such a godforsaken place would reject someone as handsome as him. He felt as if an invisible arrow had pierced into his heart. In his hands, the third-grade battle mania Joe Rouge gathered a lump of true energy. He was tempted to smash the store up. However, after he thought for a while, he gave up. "Fine. I will come back tomorrow and see what kind of a store would dare to reject me." Joe Rouge was the son of the minister of the left. As someone with such a status, everyone in the imperial city had to show him some respect. However, he was unexpectedly humiliated in a little restaurant like this. It was like getting slapped in the face. The livid Joe Rouge dissipated the true energy he gathered in his hand, turned around and left. The big black dog continued to lay there without moving. It glanced towards Joe Rouge as he left and rolled its eyes. Bufang returned to his room, He had already completely forgotten about Zhou Rouge. He gave another big yawn. He had been feeling sleepy for the entire day. As he lay on the bed, he called out the system monitor. Host, Bufang. Gender, male. Age, 20. True energy cultivation level, 1st grade. As the god of cooking in the fantasy world, you will definitely need to make use of true energy when cooking. Work hard, young man. Cooking talents, unknown. Skills, none. Tools, none. God of cooking overall rating, beginner, a beginner that finally learned how to manipulate true energy and cook egg fried rice. System level, 1 star. A surprised expression suddenly appeared on Bufang's face. My true energy cultivation level is actually at 1st grade? Are there actually levels for the system?